What's up, college football fans? So Valente here once again with the Mean Green Show. Today, joined by Jared Kalmus, and we're going to dive into the latest portal news for UTSA as well as North Texas and give our thoughts on, all the movement that's happening. But before we get into all that, guys, you already know the drill. If you're a fan of college football or G5 football, consider hitting that like and subscribe button because that is truly all that we talk about. All right, Jared. Well, hey, I appreciate your time and just kind of getting right into it, man. What are your thoughts on the Zakari news entering the transfer portal for UTSA?
Yeah, so I kind of been telling all my friends, like, I'm not surprised that he went into the portal. I'm just kind of surprised when he went into the portal. Because if you would have asked myself or a lot of people kind of like in the know around UTSA's program back in the wintertime, it was almost a foregone conclusion that he was gone. Lot of rumors swirling around about really big NIL paychecks kind of offered to him off the record. You know how it goes. UNT's had the same tampering issues, I'm sure. So I think everyone was kind of expecting him to bounce. But then when he came back for the springtime, he missed that first transfer portal window in the wintertime. And then he was with the team throughout spring ball. He wasn't participating in practice. He didn't play in the spring game, but he was there. He was with the team and all of that, still doing like public appearances. Like just last week, he was at a charity event at an elementary school, like wearing his UTSA jersey. And I was like sending it to friends like, oh, yeah, he's staying for sure. Like, that would be really awkward to do this charity event with these kids. And then the next week you're gone. And it looks like that's pretty much exactly what happened. But that's the world we live in nowadays. And, big loss for UTSA for sure. Zakari is just like, he's the best receiver in program history by far. And those records are going to stand for a while. I mean, he leaves UTSA with 37 receiving touchdowns. UTSA. Yeah, third-year starter, I think, and just got better every year, man. He was a stud, and it's UTSA took a chance on him as a 2-star coming out of Cedar Hill and turned him into a 4-star player. And he's, I think, pretty likely to get drafted, regardless of where he ends up or what he ends up doing this coming season. So, as a UTSA fan, you got 4 great years out of him. All you can do is tip your hat and wish him the best and hope he gets that big payday that he's looking for.
Yeah, kind of like playing off of the timing and kind of the awkwardness of he's here with all of his UTSA gear, and then a week later, whatever. Well, Varkey's Gums as well as Nixon, they were both on Gums with me and Nixon with Matthew Bruni, the green room, and they're doing interviews and all that stuff, and then they hit the portal, so it's kind of like I wonder, were they planning to do it and they did it, or
who knows, man?
I know, who knows. And I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with, even if you are planning to hit it, I mean, do your media stuff and all that.
You never know. I mean, these guys might come back too. Whether it's
that's true.
Like this year or next year. Like UTSA had a basketball player, Jordan Ivy Curry, who left UTSA, I think 2 years ago. And then he went to Pacific University and like had an okay year there. He's coming back to UTSA. So you definitely don't want to burn bridges. Like, home is still home, right? So I think that it kind of does make sense to kind of keep it on the down low and, try to go out in a classy manner. But it is kind of weird that Zakari has not posted any kind of like notes app statement like "Thank you, San Antonio." It's been kind of silent. So it is kind of weird, man. It's an awkward phase for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously North Texas experienced its last 2 losses in Jair Shorter and Larry Nixon. Jair Shorter playing receiver, accounted for 11 touchdowns last season. He's dealt with injury during a lot of his career at North Texas, but when he's healthy and available, man, he's very productive. And Larry Nixon's all Conference USA player. Nixon's been posting a lot of his offers, Miami, Auburn. I think Purdue's offered Shorter thus far. But
I mean, does it surprise you to see him get offers like that?
Nixon?
Yeah.
Man, honestly, people are kind of maybe not the highest on Nixon, and I'm kind of partial to him. I'm really close to his dad, so I mean, there's a bias there. And I mean, he's 6'2", 236, and he's a player. I mean, he's an all CUSA guy. So I mean, Auburn, they're not the top of the SEC, and sure. Miami's not the Miami of old. So I feel like those, I don't know. It's a big loss for North Texas. I mean, I'm all about being optimistic, but both those guys, I mean, yeah, you can say we can reload in the portal, but these guys are familiar with North Texas, and they've been here through spring ball, which will lead us to our next point. But anyway, it's tough out here in this NIL world, I guess. But kind of going to the second part of this podcast, but the timing for all of these players, Jair and Zakari, for example, they didn't even do spring football with UTSA or UNT, and
Mhm.
I find it really hard to believe that Larry Nixon rose his stock during spring football.
Sure.
I mean, I think he is what it is. So it's just speculation. And I'm not even saying this is a bad thing if this is happening, but I mean, do you think this is a direct side effect of the whole tampering thing?
With Zakari, I think that's pretty likely. I mean, I have heard so many rumors and stories, and even if a third of them are true, it's still a lot. I think especially like these guys that are from the big kind of metroplex areas in Houston, like Dallas area, they're so connected to like all these kind of third parties, like trainers and stuff like that. So word gets around, right? So I definitely believe like tampering is pretty rampant. I mean, you see a lot of cases where a guy will leave one school and he's committed to another school within an hour. I mean, like
Yeah.
it's just really blatant, right? It's like they know that the NCAA is not enforcing anything, so they don't care, right? So I think if you think that tampering doesn't exist or doesn't happen, like you just have your head buried in the sand. All you got to do is like watch when these guys go to the portal and how quickly they exit it. I mean, the writing's all over the wall.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I agree, but I mean, and I think fans like us, we're both kind of coming from a fan's perspective. We get emotionally hurt, at least I do, whenever these productive players leave. But when maybe someone at the bottom of the roster is just kind of churning, I mean, who knows
Yeah,
if there's not quote unquote tampering there from the standpoint of, you know,
right,
let's say
right,
I'm a coach and I'm talking to Victoria High School. I'm like, hey, is Jared happy over there at UTSA?
hmm
Because we could, you
right.
know, if he wants to play, we could use him at Stephen F. Austin. Just
Yep.
obviously just pure
Yeah, that's a great
examples. But
point. Yeah, people don't talk about the other side of things.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, do you think I mean, I feel like that's impossible to police. So would
Mhm.
you almost rather it just be okay? Let's just be open and for the G5s, like let the G5s go tamper with the FCS schools, I guess. But I mean, what is your thought on that? I mean, is there any way to fix it, or if you were the NFL or the NFL, the NCAA commissioner tomorrow, how would you address
Yeah.
this?
I think one thing that I think could possibly benefit, and I don't know if it prevents guys from leaving schools in the first place, but I mean, right now you're in a scenario where guys can kind of enter the portal and sign their letter of intent like pretty much immediately. So I think having like separate windows for portal entry, I think just setting up the portal windows in the first place was a huge win for coaches and for the NCAA and for fans, right? So I think over time that's going to kind of stabilize a little bit. But I think also having a specific window where only transfers can sign, I think that would be beneficial as well. And I think that probably curtails the tampering a little bit because you can still tamper to get a guy into the portal. But if you've got to recruit him for 3 months against other schools, I think maybe that makes it more of I guess like a more open market, if you will, or
Mhm.
free market than just like one school's cheating, the guy goes in the portal, then he's out the next day. Other schools don't even get a chance to recruit him, and the school he's leaving doesn't get a chance to recruit him as well because these coaches get blindsided by this stuff all the time too. So if the guy's in the portal and you know that you got 2-3 months or whatever to recruit him and try to keep him, I think that could probably benefit some schools as well.
Yeah, I like that a lot actually. Do you think they should, maybe change the timing of when you can enter? Like you can, if you want to, because speaking, I guess
Mhm.
from the coach's perspective, if you go through spring football with a guy and gear him around to, okay, this guy's our guy at whatever
Yep.
position, and then he enters, I mean, wow, you just spent all your spring investing that,
Mhm.
your plays, whatever around, whoever. I mean, do you think they should maybe shorten it to where if you're going to jump in at this time, then you do have to sit that year as opposed to, I mean, I know there's two technical openings,
Right.
one in like April or
Yeah,
May.
if a
Yeah.
guy were to enter the portal on Tuesday, he can't play this coming season.
Hmm.
So I think a lot of people don't know that, right? So I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna take it a step further. I think the entire recruiting calendar needs to get thrown out and a new one needs to be made because you're already seeing like an uptick at great coaches like leave college football to go to the NFL because like it is a 24/7 365 job nowadays and it's always been like that to a little bit. But it's just a lot more pressure now, with these portal windows. And before we didn't even have the windows, guys get in the portal anytime. And, with the extra signing period and stuff like that. So I think it just needs to start from scratch and maybe like separate windows for high school versus transfer, limits on the number of transfers you can take. I don't know, but it is just completely out of control right now. And it's just utter chaos. And I think that the NCAA needs to kind of take this on head on and try to give some sanity and some I guess predictability to when rosters are going to change.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all right, Jared, that's all I really had for you. I really appreciate your time, and we'll see what happens as the portal turns, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah. Keep in mind the portal works both ways, and it's guys can sign all the way up through August, right? So if you're feeling down, if you're a UTSA or UNT fan, give it a couple months because I think both of these programs have had some pretty major pickups over the summertime these last couple of years, and I think we'll see that trend continue for sure. Some great talent out there.
That's right. Keep hope alive. All right, Jared. Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, take care, man.